But we must continue to expose them. At least to his credit, Oyedepo said something, albeit belatedly. And maybe people should be coming to Radio Biafra, they should be paying me tithe and the contribution, isn't it? Because everything I say comes to pass. Nothing your pastors ever say happens. Does it? Was it not Suleiman that said, I will inherit, I will encounter double disgrace, both locally and internationally? Isn't it very funny? Who has been disgraced today? Locally and internationally. Who? Because the devil spoke to him, not Elohim. The devil. He said Nnamdi will be disgraced. Instead of him to say that Nnamdi will bring into the fore news that will disgrace somebody, both local and international, he said it's me, because he's a northerner. He wants to preserve one Nigeria. Because by preserving one Nigeria, that is the only way the presence of Biafrans will stop Fulani people from killing all of them and taking over their land. That's all. They want one Nigeria because of oil. Oyedepo has woken up, and I give him credit for that, to be honest with you. I comment. He spoke very passionately. That was how I expected every preacher of the word to react. How Oyedepo reacted. I expected all of them to react the same way. Righteous indignation. Because this is an abomination before man and before heaven. But some of you are busy laughing. In my next life, I won't come close to Africa, I assure you. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I ask those of you that attend all these mega churches, those that claim they are pastors or they are daddy GOs see into the future, how come they never saw the coming of this great fraud? This is a crime of immense proportions. This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to any democracy around the world. This is taking the confidence of a people and rubbing it in the dirt and feeding it to them to eat. This is the worst thing anybody... People died for this democracy that you have in the zoo, or supposed, assumed democracy. A lot died. Abacha killed many people because of this. Abiola died because of this. Now, what other option do you have? Is it not to look yourselves in the faces and then decide the degree or scale of stupidity that you're on? This Jibril saga, if anything, has shown that none of your so-called daddy GOs is a child of the living Elohim. None of them is. Because if they were, they would have seen this thing coming. But they are not, and they can never be. They are blind in the spiritual realm. They cannot see. They don't and cannot see anything. But I'm sure come the end of this month, some of them will come out with their fake, unfulfillable prophecies. Crap. And you all lap it up. You will sow seed, you will sow what goodness knows whatever. You will do all these things and then nothing will come of it. This historic and unprecedented unmasking of Jubril will not only change forever the British colonial contraption called Nigeria, it will greatly impact the demonic Pentecostal prosperity preaching churches founded on lies and false teachings. This is for another day, maybe, because right now we must proceed. I'm just trying to build the foundation for what we are doing tonight, and then we come to the scientific analysis later. We have looked at the so-called men of God. What I'm trying to do here is to present to you those people in your society that claims they know it all, that claims they understand what is happening. Those of them that claim they are the ones capable of providing viable leadership. They have all failed woefully. From your churches, from your ministers in your churches, to some of those that claim that they are elders and speak for the people, they have all failed. Why they have failed, you need to find out from them. I can't help you. Let us look at the intellectuals. Those that say that we are the intellectuals. I've just been reminded of a particular prophet in Enugu. He is so blind. He is so blind he doesn't even know that Buhari is dead. He said to Jibril, I will pray for Buhari, I will pray for you. Nnamdi and Atiku will not do anything to you, as if I know who Atiku is. I am one of the most vocal critics of Atiku. Everything to do with Fulani hegemony, I hate it. And they know it. What's his name again? Is it the Enugu prophet? I want to make him popular tonight by mentioning his name. Maybe ABC can give him money tomorrow after this. Because he needs money. No, it's Prophet Nwoko, not Mbaka. Prophet Nwoko. They love going to him because I no longer give him money. That's why he came out with his nonsense. But this Jibril saga has destroyed him completely. A very hungry, a very poor man indeed. Poverty is not the absence of material wealth. It's the absence of the gift, or should I say the spirit, of being contented with what you have. That is the difference. Prophet Nwoko saying he's praying for Jibril and calling him Buhari. That is how sad his life has become. But I shall pray for him. I will pray for him. Wole Soyinka and the rest of the pontificating class that claim they have monopoly of knowledge when in actual fact they know absolutely nothing. Is that an insult? I'm just telling you the fact. Anybody that looks at it won't take you long. Once you look at Jibril, you will know that this is a fraud. It's a fake. Where are your elders? Those that say they can, what they can see from under the bunker, we cannot see from atop a tree. What are they? Have they said anything about Jibril? No. Even some of them went to visit Jibril today, praying for him. Maybe it's Methodist Church, Anglican Church, I don't know. You know what hunger can do to black African people? You know, when it comes to hunger, we don't play with our stomach. That was what Che Guevara said when he came to Congo to fight in the liberation struggle. After a while, he left. They asked him, why did you leave? He said, because a black African man cannot ever put the need for his self-preservance and dignity before his stomach. He always puts his stomach first. That's why Che Guevara went back. He came to Africa to fight. Some of you don't know that. Africans, that is why when you give them bread with the label, with your picture on the label of the bread, they vote for you. You go in and you steal all their money. You come back again, you buy them chin-chim. You know chin-chim? In a smaller packet this time, and they still vote for you. Because that thing they're eating at that material point in time is all they require. I don't know. Is it God that made us this way? Is it Satan? I don't know who did this to us. I don't know. And some of us traveled abroad to study. And yet, we learn nothing. We learn absolutely nothing. We must continue. How about the OBS presidents of this world and other people I call the velvet activists? Why are they not outraged at this great fraud against the people by two men? Isn't that what Aisha said? I said it's two men running the government. You understand? It's just like as I am. As my father is the traditional ruler of my people, I will come, or my mother will be lamenting one day, oh, there are two people in my father's cabinet running the cabinet. I'll ask my mother, but where's my father? Isn't it? My father is there to run the affairs of the village. Is that not correct? Of the people, of the community. Then my mother is complaining that there are these two men in my father's cabinet. That's always calling the shots. I'll ask my mom, but where is daddy? Isn't it? Isn't that common sense? It's not common in the zoo. It's not. The one thing you call common sense is not common to Nigerians. Why are people not outraged that two men are holding all of you hostage? And after we go through what Aisha Buhari said later, I will tell you I have renewed respect for that woman. I'm telling you. The same way I respect Patience Jonathan. I have a lot of respect for Patience Jonathan. A lot. Sometimes I think that Nigeria would have been a better place had a woman been in charge of Nigeria. I'm telling you the truth. Dora Akunyili. Where is not obvious and not obvious, obviously. What's the other one? The one with the World Bank. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The likes, it would have been better for Nigerians to vote for Aisha Buhari to be president. I'm telling you. Very frank, straightforward, upright, and boldly truthful. Same way as Mrs. Patience Jonathan, whom I like very much, I must say. I like her a lot. She's very bold. I like her a lot. The Sultan of Sokoto claims he's a pious man. And I'm sure many people were tempted to believe him in the past. I saw him, I looked at him many years ago, and I thought maybe he's an upright, humble, honest, Islamic, religious man. But he is now part of the gang that would do anything to have a Fulani man in power. Very, very disgraceful. From Atiku Abubakar to Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, be they PDP or APC, all of them are aware that an impostor from Sudan is running the zoo. But they've all kept quiet. Because they are hoping that foolishly all of you Nigerians will stumble towards the elections and you vote Atiku in. And they will sweep all this nonsense under the carpet. That is a lie. It's not going to happen. It won't happen. Because you cannot go to an election with somebody who is an impostor, who is not a Nigerian, not even registered. It can never happen. So those of you dreaming presidential election, you are all dreaming for nothing. It will never happen. Because an impostor without certificate cannot run for an elected office in Nigeria when he is a foreign national. Can never happen. Let us begin by looking at some things that that God has given to us naturally. This is what I call natural science. You don't need too much onyokomita to do this. It's very simple and very straightforward. You look at what is about to come, and then you decide for yourself. You begin to place yourself on a scale in terms of how reasonable you are or how daft you are. Let us start by dissecting Buhari and Jibril's finger and palm prints. I want you, those of you in the studio, look at the palm of your hand and tell me if yours and that of Ekweme is the same. Is it the same? If you're listening to this program tonight, I don't care if you're identical twins. Open your two hands. As if you're about to pray. Open the palm of your hands and look at the big lines that run. And tell me if you share the same configuration with anybody else. The palm of your, you cannot hide this one. You don't need an Einstein to tell you this. If you don't have the same palm print or fingerprint as me, you are not Nnamdi. Do you understand? So they can bring as many people as possible to pretend to be Buhari. But none of them can be Buhari because Buhari's palm print is unique. Unique to Buhari alone. The palm of your hand, look at it. And look at the one of the person next to you, then you will know that you cannot have two Buharis, only one, and that one is dead, buried in Saudi Arabia. Let us continue. Like in earlier presentations, where I have explained to you in very clear details how certain outwardly visible features on a human body is unique and can never ever be duplicated. Never. Even by nature. Never. It can never happen. In this, as long as the earth remains, as long as this earth remains, no other human being can be born with the set of fingerprints you have on your hand. No other person. Even if the earth lives to be 4.5 billion years, as they claim, the sun will last before it burns itself out. Even if this earth were to survive for the next 4.5 billion years, you will never have another person share the same fingerprint as yourself. That is the mystery of creation. And that's why I love God so much. The mystery of creation. So anybody bringing somebody to represent Buhari must also think that, hey, any day you wave at us, it's bye-bye, it's over. That bye-bye you're waving at us is for yourself and for us as well, because you're going. Any day, again, as I'm telling you tonight, I'm talking to Yoruba journalists. I'm sure they all have cameras, yes? You all have cameras and smartphones. Any day Jibril comes out again to wave bye-bye, he's waving bye-bye to himself, to all of you. Because it will be clear to you that Jibril is not Buhari. What's that to go now, where? Any more discussion? End of discussion. But we must continue here. We must continue because this is Radio Biafra. I enjoy speaking the truth. I will speak it. There is nothing any mortal can do to me. I will speak the truth on this very platform. Hallowed platform. Radio Biafra, one and only. People may try to mimic us, to copy us. Maybe we may even have a body double somewhere, pretending that they are Radio Biafra, but they are not. There's only one. We are unclonable. You cannot clone us. Ngozi Chineke, as my name is Ngozi Chubu. Some of you don't know that, do you? You know that my name is Ngozi Chubu. But they say people named Ngozi are very stubborn. And I don't think I am. I only speak the truth. Yes, my grandma named me Ngozi Chubu, Ngozi Chineke. We must continue. We looked at the issue of Buhari's left ear and agreed from the video and pictorial evidence available that Buhari had a damaged left ear, lobe, which Jibril doesn't, despite the fact that the difference between both men are so obvious. The Nigerian media, dominated by a few corrupt unity-begging people, have chosen to ignore this critical point. Instead, they lavish outlandish praise on an impostor. Tonight, this is revelation. Tonight we will begin to deal with some of this nonsense and easily prove to our detractors. Backed up by forensic science, that's what we're doing. We all must, as a matter of fact, we all must make sure that what we are preaching is correct. Do you know the reason why you all have biometric passport? Do you know why you all have biometric passports? I'm asking you. Do you know why you all have biometric passports? It's because no two of you exist. If you're traveling abroad now, if you don't have a biometric passport with your fingerprint and whatever features that you may have on it, you will not get a visa. You will not get a visa because it is now becoming very difficult. Ask anybody that works for Immigration Passport Division. Go back and try to answer another name to retrieve your old passport. Maybe not to retrieve, to have, try to have a double identity in Nigeria, as primitive as they are. Once you put in your fingerprint on the machine, the computer will return a message that you have been here before, that you're a fraud. That maybe your name is Abubakar Abiudu, and you've been there before. Ask anybody that works with immigration, unless they will completely wipe out your details. You know how corrupt they are. But if your details are still on the system, you cannot apply for a fresh passport if you've had one issued to you before. A biometric passport, I mean. It is biometric for a reason. That is one thing people don't understand. And that is what we're going to use this very evening to dismantle the zoo and all the lies surrounding Jubril. Simple biometric analysis. I hope it's making sense now, isn't it? The reason why you have a biometric passport is because they contain your biological features which are unique to you and you alone. Nobody can have it. I believe that some of you are enlightened. You will know that fingerprinting is the oldest form of identification. It is also so unique a technique for identifying who the real person is that cultures and civilizations long gone all over the world use it till this day. That is why when you go to vote, you use your thumbprint. Have you asked yourself why? Because if you lie about your voting intentions, I can go and find out if you voted for me or not. All I need to do is to subpoena the voting, the ballot boxes, and I'll go through it. And I will scan all the fingerprints, and I will tell you who you voted for. And it has happened in the zoo before, it has happened in Nigeria before. And we shall get to it. And now they'll be wondering, how did the intelligence services of IPOB get this? How did M Branch get this information? They'll be wondering. Because we are better than whatever you have in Nigeria at getting the very vital information that actually matter. If you remember, I'm talking now to educated and enlightened Yoruba men and women. They will understand what I'm talking about tonight. And for some of you listening all over the world, you will be able to learn something new about the political intrigues in Nigeria, and especially in Yoruba land. There is nothing happening in the East anywhere because they are follow. They are just servants to the Fulanis. They don't do anything. They don't do politics. They have one Fulani godfather or the other. The use of fingerprint investigation analysis was the root cause of the problem, the quarrel, the rift between the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo and the former military and civilian president of Nigeria, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo. Some of you don't know this, but I'll tell you tonight. And it goes to the heart of this Jubril impostor matter, to tell you that they can no longer hide. After this program tonight, if anybody raises his or her ugly head to tell you that Jubril is Buhari, then you know that person can never ever be redeemed again on this earth. Never, ever, ever. Remember, listen very carefully, all of you all over the world, please. It's very, very important. We want to set the stage for the unmasking of Jubril with irrefutable scientific evidence. During the 1979 general election, some of you perhaps listening were not born then or you were too young, but I was already a young man. 1979 elections ushered in what is called the Second Republic in Nigeria. That very administration was headed by Shehu Shagari from Sokoto State, who is a Fulani man, a Muslim, and very obeying. He's a very kind-hearted man. He's a very good man. Shagari is a good man. Obafemi Awolowo was contesting that election. So was Nnamdi Azikiwe. So was Malam Aminu Kanu. And so also was Alhaji Waziri. I've forgotten his first name. Waziri. They all contested under MPN, UPN, NPP, GNPP, and PRP. As the case may be. I don't know how to remember all these things, but I still do. Obafemi Awolowo, a Yoruba man, discovered, he had a hunch, a premonition that Obasanjo reached a deal with the Fulani people to hand over power to them. Understand? Obafemi Awolowo discovered that Obasanjo did not vote for him, despite his assurances to Awolowo that he did. Obasanjo, in fact, voted for the Fulani Shehu Shagari because he owed his loyalty to the Fulani ruling class that ensured he became the military head of state after the assassination of Murtala Mohammed in 1976. Follow this very, very carefully, please. It's very, very important because we're going to lay the foundation for what we're going to do this evening. We must all remember, have it at the back of our minds, that the first attempt by a Yoruba man to take over power after an attempted, should I say, unsuccessful coup or successful one, depending on how you look at it, ended in a total disgrace for the Yoruba race when Brigadier Ogundigbe was forced at gunpoint to run away to England by a Fulani recruit that was guarding him when Ironsi was assassinated. Brigadier Ogundigbe was the second in command to Agu Ironsi, General Agu Ironsi from my hometown, married to my aunt, that Victoria. When my auntie's husband was assassinated, General Ironsi, the next person in line was General Brigadier Ogundigbe Yoruba man, a Fulani recruit. Aboki, with his gun, went into his office and asked him, "Okay, what are you still doing here?" Ogundigbe fled and ran to London. Instead of taking over the command of the Nigerian army, Ogundigbe fled. That gave rise to the emergence of Yakubu Gowon. So had Ogundigbe assumed command, military command, after the death of Ironsi, you wouldn't have had the war in 1967. Is it becoming clearer now? Brigadier Ogundigbe was humiliated and chased out of the military altogether. He ran and became some sort of an ambassador, or the high commissioner, whatever it's called. Having escaped this same fate, Obasanjo thought the same thing would happen to him. So when they came to his office, he thought that was going to be the end of it. But instead they turned around and said, "Don't worry, you now assume command of the army of Nigeria and you become the head of state, military head of state." Obasanjo there and then swore an oath of loyalty to the Fulani Caliphate to return power to them in 1979. Understand this very clearly, which he duly did. The icing on the to prove Obasanjo's loyalty to the Fulani, Obasanjo voted for Shagari and not his tribesman Awolowo. Because then all Yoruba land was UPN. Everybody was UPN. I mean everybody UPN. Awolowo, being a very intelligent man, a man very shrewd, very intelligent. When he got the information that Obasanjo made a secret deal to hand over power to the North, no matter what, Awolowo confronted Obasanjo, who denied it. Chief Awolowo then decided to hire forensic experts to investigate further. Obasanjo is still alive today. You can go and ask him now. Maybe, of course, he's listening. If what Nnamdi is saying on Radio Biafra is the truth or not. Awolowo's investigators used court subpoena to gain access when they were going to the tribunal, to challenge the result, rigging and no rigging. When you go to the court, that's what some of you don't know. When you go to the court to challenge your opponent, you can subpoena all the ballot boxes and they bring it and you can go through it one after the other. And to get information, that was what Awolowo did. That was exactly what Awolowo did. When Awolowo had access, when Awolowo's investigators had access to the ballot papers, you know what they did? Surprise, surprise! They found out that Obasanjo voted for MPN, not UPN. Do you know how they knew it? By his fingerprint. Thus began the enmity between Obasanjo and the late Chief Awolowo. Obasanjo's thumbprint was in the column for MPN. I think it is a house and two stalks of corn, isn't it? By the side. That was the definitive proof that Obasanjo did not vote for Awolowo as he claimed. He voted for the Fulani Shehu Shagari as he promised the North he would. Rather than damage his standing, that simple act of voting for a Fulani man ensured Obasanjo's victory in 1999. You may not believe it, but it is true. Because Obasanjo proved to all the world and to the Fulani at large that he is a loyal supporter of their cause. This gesture was reciprocated by handing over power to yet another Fulani man in Shehu Musa Yaradua. Is it not making sense? Obasanjo handed over to Shehu Musa. No matter what Atiku did, Obasanjo said no. Because Yaradua Senior and Obasanjo, they've come a long way. They've come a long way. That was how it happened. Tonight we'll continue to do what Awolowo did many. Is there anything wrong with what Awolowo did before? We are going to look at the fingerprint of Buhari and then compare it with the one of Jubril. Very simple and neat. Very clean. And then you will tell us who is lying and who is telling the truth. But especially I want Yoruba newspaper editors and journalists to listen, and so also AFP. Whoever represents Ocean's French press in Nigeria must listen very carefully, because I am doing the job that journalists should be doing. They are not going to pay IPOB intelligence any money for this or reward us for it. But they should kindly sit down and listen and take in what we are talking about. First of all, you must understand what a palm or fingerprint recognition is. Palm recognition is a technology that looks at some of the features of your arm. You know what it's called? You know, before you can pick up something, it's because your hand has friction. Do you know why your hand has friction? When you slide it on something, it sticks something. Because it has the grooves in it. The ridges you have in the palm of your hand. These friction ridges do not always flow continuously throughout a pattern and often result in very specific characteristics, such as the ending ridges or dividing ridges and dots. A palm recognition system is designed to interpret the flow of the overall ridges, to assign a classification, and then extract the smallest, the most minutiae of details. Now listen very carefully. A subset of the total amount of information available, yet enough information to effectively search for a large repository of palm prints. In other words, if you open up your hand and I take a picture of your hand, I will place it in a computer to scan and see if another person has that type of palm ever anywhere else in the whole world. That is what we have done. The one belonging to Buhari, nobody has it. The one belonging to Jubril belongs to Jubril. Very unique to Jubril. They are not the same people. Never ever the same. There is something called, you know, that the palm of your hand is going into four. The palm of your hand. You can draw what is called an upper cross on it. If you draw a straight line down, at the top you draw another thin line at the top of it. The part at the top of the line you've drawn is called the upper palm. The left side of it, of the divide you have drawn, is called the hypothenar. The right hand is called the thenar, and the lower side is called the lower palm. Science, not fiction. Science. I'm not going to tell you the hardware we used to analyze this. I won't tell you. If you like, you can go and buy it. Luckily for us, for all of you, we have it. Luckily for all of you, we have a public picture of Buhari's finger and palm print officially issued by the APC. We also have the palm and fingerprint of Jubril in an official photograph issued by the government of Nigeria, so there is no doubt as to the authenticity of the pictures used or the pictures that we're going to analyze tonight. There have been previous attempts, or should I say some amateurish attempts, to explain these features, but we are going to use a very simple technique that even a lay person can understand to prove to the world that Buhari is dead and replaced by an impostor, a body double, and a clone. There is a particular picture which I would like people to look at, prematurely circulated, I must say, but it must be circulated tonight. It has all the lines clearly spelled out. You know your hand. Do you see when you open up your palm, the first line you see, do you know what it's called? It's called the heart line for your heart. The head is the second one. This is for the head. Because everybody has almost three. These three lines you have is is a permanent feature. 1, 2, and 3. One at the top, the 1 and the 2 joining together and then coming down. Do you have it? Absolutely. The first one is called the heart hand. The second one is called the head hand. And the other one is called the lifeline. This last one here is called the lifeline. That's what it's called. It is unique in everybody. If you look at my own, you will see it is not the same as yours. It can never ever be, never ever be, never ever be. If you look at it, at the palm, the palm of your hand, if you look at it, those 3 prominent lines, look at them again. That's where we're going to. And I want Amakeko and Biafrans all over the world to circulate this very picture. Instruct them to circulate this very picture. Ikechuku, instruct them to circulate this very picture. That is what I want circulated, so that the world can follow what we're saying. That is why some scientific expose should not be done on radio, because people cannot see it. Maybe I should try giving this lecture on television. That would be far more better, but that is coming. Anyway, on the palm of your hand you have the heart line, you have the head line, and you have the lifeline. And there is a picture of the impostor. The mistake he made was that he was waving at people and put his hand very close to his eyes, waving at people. That's why I said, after the program tonight, Jubril al-Sudani cannot pretend he's Buhari and run for elections in Nigeria, because he can no longer wave hands to people. It's as simple as that. It is here. What we are placing in the public domain tonight is irrefutable evidence that the markings, the natural, the birth markings on the hands, Akarakaya or Badaraka Jubril, is not the same. The palm of Jubril, the ridges, the contours, the dimensions are not the same with that of Buhari. Then you ask us, how did we get Buhari's own? I encourage you to look at the second picture. That was the picture taken in 2015 when Buhari went to vote. So there is no doubt. You can still see the ink on his thumb. It's there. And his palm wide open, open, open. Open. MSN reported this briefly a few days ago about this palm print. And why can't people sit down and understand that there is a uniqueness between each and every? No 2 people can be the same. No 2 persons can be the same. Not even twins. If you look at Buhari's, the real Buhari, if you look at his heart line, his headline, and his lifeline, you will see that there is chaos. It is not the same. It is not the same. Is this thing the same? Has anyone seen, is this thing the same? Never ever the same. This was painstaking research that we did. This is before we go to the next phase of this, because after tonight, by the grace of the Most High Elohim, the next time we appear, it will be something far more serious than broadcasting on radio, I assure you. We are prepared for them. Can you see it very clearly that the fingerprint of Jubril and that of Buhari is not the same? The palm print of Jubril and Buhari is not the same. The lines at the palm of their hands are not the same. So if they are not the same, can they be the same person? Can they be the same person? No. If you claim you are me, and there is a record, as the police will always do, police will always take record of people's fingerprints. So if there is any doubt, they check for fingerprint records. Very simple. So why can't Nigerians? Why can't Nigerians look at the fingerprint of Jubril and that of Buhari? Is there. Now let me tell you what is going to happen. Buhari's ballot paper, he has been voting since, is in Katsina. Buhari's ballot paper is in Katsina INEC office because you're required to store it for so many years. I am asking Yoruba, because they own the media. The Yorubas own the media in Nigeria, and they have done very well out of it. They make a lot of money out of it. They make a lot of money covering the truth and propagating lies. I want, you know, AFP is an international reputable company. They are from France, so they are white. They must be doing something right. I want you to go to the office of INEC in Katsina for your own good, not for mine, and go and see the ballot paper used by Buhari. Bring it and look at the fingerprint of Jibril. You will know they're not the same people. Secondly, for us, if your eyesight is disturbing you, you go and get a pair of glasses, as I've done. I wear glasses. Go and get one and look. You will see. Are those pictures being circulated at all as we speak? Very good. Even if you're blind as a bat, you'll be able to see that Jibril and Buhari are not the same people. Let me tell you, there's something unique about palm prints. No, not that one. Not that one. That is the problem that we are having. Not that one. Do you have this? The ones that you have is not. Absolutely. 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 Have it circulated immediately, so people can see it. And this is the one. Make sure that Amako gets it, so it can be put on my page. Nnamdi. That's where I tweet and I try to lecture people on what it means to stand up for the truth. I want this very picture put everywhere. I want it sent to every media house in the world. It is irrefutable, undisputable, confirmation, 100% that Buhari is dead and an impostor is in his place. And let me tell you something from today. They will not be bringing out Jibril anymore to be waving hands at people. He will no longer wave. Even if he's going to wave, anyway, there are telescopic cameras. He will clench his fist now. He will not open his palm anymore to wave. Because we've got, you see what I'm trying to do is to shut every exit. It's slow death. It's called death by 1,000 cuts. I want them to squirm. I want these people to bleed and suffer. They will not bleed blood, but disgrace and shame. For every Nigerian, disgrace upon disgrace and shame. Now I've released this, white people will now become interested. As I told a friend of mine, by the time I'm done with the zoo, by the time Nnamdi is done with Nigeria, if you travel outside Nigeria and you tell somebody you're a Nigerian, they will spit on your face. Mark my words. I'm not in a hurry. The zoo will be emasculated, completely rendered useless on this holy platform of Radio Biafra. The unique thing about palm print is that each one is unique to an individual. What we are trying to do is to show to the whole world that IPOB intelligence, and M branch for that matter, it will be on the trail of anybody that pretends to be, in case Jubi decides to run away. You know, the heat could be too much and he will decide to run. Do you know the funniest part is that they have registered this version of Buhari with INEC. He has completed his nomination papers and filed it back. They've accepted it with that certificate, to mind you, because it's fallen. It is too late to replace Jibril. So the cabal in the north must do everything possible to bring somebody who will run. If the fingerprint of Jibril we have changes, we will inform you. If they bring another impostor, if they bring another body double, if they play any funny games, I'm telling you the truth, we'll publish it for you to know, because they can come tomorrow and say, oh, look at the ones that Nnamdi cannot publish. It's not the same as this. That's not what we're saying. We have what I call the control specimen, which is Buhari's finger and palm print from 2015 general election. Nobody's disputing that. It is there for all to see. Anybody you bring will compare that person's fingerprint and palm print with the one that we have of Buhari in 2015 before he died in 2017. We must continue. Buhari will no longer, Jubril, I should say. Waving hand now has got him into trouble. He will no longer wave his hand. He is finished. Completely and totally finished. No matter how you look at it, Buhari is truly gone. And you know what they may do? You know, they may go to impressionists and try to get a cast of Buhari's hand and imprint it on a glove, and a lacquer's glove, and he'll be wearing it. So when he waves at you, you will try to see the same lines, isn't it? But the only way you know is when you shake his hand, you will see that Jubril is indeed lifeless, because he won't feel anything. It will only be rubber.